There was a time when almost every corner of Africa was falling under foreign rule, kingdom after kingdom, empire after empire. One by one, they surrendered. Europe believed there was one nation left that would soon kneel. They were wrong. High in the mountains of Ethiopia, one emperor refused to bow. But his greatest battle was not fought with swords. It began with a single sentence, hidden inside a treaty, a deception so carefully crafted that it could have stolen an entire nation without firing a single shot. What happened next shocked the world. An African army would rise, defeat a European empire, and prove that freedom is never handed to those who wait. It is won by those who stand together. This is the unforgettable story of Emperor Menelik II, the man who changed the destiny of Africa. Welcome to Moonlight Tales Africa, a place where African stories come alive beneath the moonlight. So, wherever you are listening from, sit close, relax, and journey with me. Sit close to the fire. The elders are about to speak. Because some stories do more than entertain us, they help us understand ourselves. This is Moonlight Tales Africa.
Before we begin today's story, kindly subscribe and become part of this growing circle of African history, wisdom, culture, and moonlight tales. Sit close to the fire. The elders are about to continue their story.
The prince who refused to be broken. Long before the thunder of cannons echoed across the mountains of Ethiopia, a boy was born into a kingdom whose royal lineage stretched back through the centuries. His name was Menelik. According to Ethiopia's ancient royal tradition, its emperors traced their ancestry to King Solomon of Israel and the Queen of Sheba. For generations, they believed they were guardians of a sacred dynasty, one that united faith, history, and the Ethiopian throne. Menelik was born into that remarkable heritage as the son of Haile Melekot, king of Shewa, one of Ethiopia's most powerful kingdoms. But royal blood offered no guarantee of safety. In those days, kingdoms rose and fell through war. Alliances shifted and kings fought fiercely to protect their crowns. Then tragedy struck. When Menelik was still a boy, Emperor Tewodros II conquered Shewa. To prevent future rebellion, he took the young prince into his royal court as a captive. Imagine being only 11 years old, taken from your home, separated from your family, never knowing whether you would one day wear a crown or spend your life under another king's watchful eye. Many would have surrendered to despair, but not Menelik. Instead of allowing captivity to break his spirit, he watched, he listened, he learned. Every conversation, every decision, every victory, and every mistake became a lesson. Quietly, the young prince prepared for a future no one else could see. Then came the moment that changed everything. With courage, careful planning, and the help of loyal supporters, Menelik regained his freedom and escaped back to Shewa. But he did not return seeking revenge. He returned to rebuild. His people welcomed him home. Over the years, he earned their trust through wisdom rather than fear. He strengthened his kingdom, forged alliances, and patiently united those around him. Menelik understood something many rulers never did. A nation built only by the sword can be destroyed by a stronger sword, but a nation built on unity can endure for generations. Years later, in 1889, Menelik was crowned Emperor of Ethiopia. He inherited an ancient kingdom with a proud history, but beyond its mountains, a storm was gathering. Across Africa, European empires were carving up the continent as though it belonged to them. And before long, their eyes would turn toward Ethiopia. As emperor, Menelik II knew that Ethiopia could not remain isolated while the rest of the world was changing. He built roads that connected distant regions. He introduced the telegraph and the telephone. He encouraged modern education, strengthened his army, and laid the foundations for a stronger, more united Ethiopia. But while Menelik was preparing his nation for the future, Italy was preparing to take it. Unlike armies that marched with guns alone, Italy came first with smiles, gifts, and a treaty. In 1889, both nations signed what became known as the Treaty of Wuchale. At first glance, it appeared to be a simple agreement of friendship and cooperation. But hidden within its words was a dangerous deception. The Amharic version, the one Menelik and his officials read, said Ethiopia could use Italy to conduct foreign affairs if it wished. The Italian version told a very different story. It claimed Ethiopia must conduct all foreign affairs through Italy. One single word changed may into must. And with that change, Italy declared Ethiopia its protectorate, as though the country had willingly surrendered its independence. When Menelik discovered the deception, he was furious. He rejected the treaty completely. His message was unmistakable. Ethiopia is not for sale. Ethiopia will never belong to another empire. Italy believed the emperor would eventually give in. Instead, Menelik sent messengers across the land, from the highlands to the valleys, from farmers to nobles, from every corner of Ethiopia. He called on his people to stand together. Old rivalries were set aside. Different communities answered the same call. Men and women gathered food, weapons, horses, and supplies. An entire nation was preparing not for conquest, but for freedom. The battle that would decide Ethiopia's future was now only days away. The morning of March 1st, 1896, the mountains around Adwa fell silent. Thousands of Ethiopian men and women had gathered. Warriors stood beside farmers. Nobles stood beside ordinary villagers. People from different regions, languages, and traditions had become one people with one purpose. Across the battlefield, the Italian army waited confidently. They believed this would be another easy colonial victory. They could not have been more mistaken. As the sun climbed over the mountains, the battle began. The Ethiopian forces attacked with extraordinary courage and determination. They knew every hill, every valley, and every narrow mountain path. More importantly, they were fighting for something no invading army could ever possess: their home. By the end of the day, the impossible had happened. Italy had been decisively defeated. The news spread across the world. At a time when nearly every corner of Africa was falling under colonial rule, Ethiopia had done what many believed could never be done. It had defended its freedom. The victory at Adwa became more than a military triumph. It became a symbol of hope. From Africa to the Caribbean, from America to Europe, people of African descent looked to Ethiopia with pride. If one African nation could stand against a mighty empire, perhaps others could one day stand as well. Yet Menelik II understood that winning a battle was not the same as building a nation. He continued expanding roads, improving communication, encouraging education, and strengthening Ethiopia for generations to come. But perhaps his greatest lesson was this: Menelik did not defend Ethiopia by courage alone. He defended it with knowledge. Years spent learning statecraft, diplomacy, and leadership had taught him that a nation can lose its freedom not only on the battlefield, but also in the words of a treaty. When others saw an agreement, Menelik looked deeper. He recognized that a single word could change the destiny of an entire nation. History reminds us that ignorance can surrender what courage alone cannot recover. When he passed away in 1913, he left behind more than an empire. He left behind a lesson that still speaks to us today. A nation's greatest strength is not its wealth, nor the size of its army, but the unity of its people, the wisdom to value knowledge, and leaders who refuse to trade freedom for comfort. And so, whenever the story of Africa's resilience is told beneath the moonlight, the name Menelik II will forever shine among those who proved that courage, wisdom, and unity can change the course of history. Thank you for joining us on Moonlight Tales Africa. If this story inspired you, share it with someone who believes Africa's history deserves to be remembered. Until our next gathering beneath the moonlight, keep the stories alive.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like, comment, and share so you won't miss our future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.